And you're welcome to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition. We basically look at the big stories for the week reported by various media outlets. When I come back, I'll take you through the stories that made headlines. Stay with us. So you're welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. Let me take you through the stories for the week. We'll start with the one to do with the trial, the ambulance trial, and the latest around it. We'll start with the Daily Graphic. It says Ato Forson and Jakpa freed AG to appeal. The Informer says ambulance trial case, AG disagrees with court, vows to appeal against perverse decision. The Ghanaian Times says 2.37 million euros ambulance case, court acquits, discharges Ato Forson, Richard Jakpa, but AG serves notice of appeal. And finally, on that story, we'll go to ChannelOneNews.com, says ambulance case acquittals underscore importance of legal process over punishment. Shremsai speaking over there. So those are some of the angles captured by some news outlets. Let's move away from that to go to the District Road Improvement Program, what that program is about and how it was captured. We'll start with the Daily Graphic. They say President launches Road Improvement Program. Initiative provides 2,240 road construction equipment, creates 10,000 jobs. Daily Guide, Nana launches drip for better road network. Ghanaian Times, MMDA's task to improve road nationwide as President presents fleet of heavy-duty equipment for maintenance, rehabilitation, upgrade of roads. And finally, on that issue, CityNewsroom.com, minority files RTI request to demand cost of drip project. So those are some stories around the drip project, which was launched on Wednesday. We'll move away from that and we'll go to stories around land issues. A couple have popped up this week. We'll start with CityNewsroom.com. Reverse EI 144 to protect Achimota Forest. That's CSO demanding. And then La Youth demonstration. We'll take that story from myjoyonline.com. They say alleged looting of Ghanalands. La Youth groups to protest today. Channel One News, La Kadangwe land rights groups to protest of alleged land looting by politicians. And then we'll wrap up with the top stories for the week. A look at the opinion piece which came from a former Deputy Finance Minister, Mr. Kweku Kwarteng. What was the issue? Republic Press says reform or perish. Kweku Kwarteng wants NPP. 3 News, let's convince voters that we shall be ruthless in our determination to fix the country, Kweku Kwarteng tells MPP. And CityNewsroom.com, my love for MPP, reason I want Ghana managed well. This is Kweku Kwarteng speaking. So those are some of the big stories for the week. When I come back, I'll introduce our guests. We'll have discussions around these stories, look at the various angles, what it means, and matters arising. To stay with us, we'll be right back. So you're welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. Our guests for today, we have Selim Adonu here with us at Channel One TV as well as City FM. Selim, welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
And then I also have with me Samir Riafi, who's also here with us at Channel One TV as well as City FM.
Hello, Vivian.
Welcome.
Hello, Vivian.
All right, gentlemen, we'll start with the big story for the week, I believe, having to do with Ato Forson and Mr. Jakpa being freed by an appeal court here in the Greater Accra region. Selim, I think you actually broke that story to us somehow.
Okay.
I mean, when you got it from, of course, you're a lawyer, so you are in the fray. Were you expecting to see that from the, appeal court, or you thought maybe you go the other way, based on what you're
I mean, you can't be sure about many things in respect of the case, but I think I wasn't really surprised at the outcome of the Court of Appeal decision because, I mean, I've tried to follow the case. I may not have followed it very, very well, but I think I've casually followed the case. There were some questions which were hanging in my mind, and I expected the prosecution to have answered those questions when they opened their case or when they were prosecuting their case.
Which questions?
So for example, so let me start off this way. So this is a criminal trial, and in criminal trials, we start off by, so apart from the police investigation, etc., you know, when you get to court, there's a charge sheet you accept before you go to court. The charge sheet has the things for which you have been brought to court. So we have the offenses, and then the offenses will be read out to you in court, even though you would have been served and read it already. They'll be read out to you in court, and your plea will be taken. Yeah. When your plea being taken means they'll ask you whether you are guilty of a particular charge or not, and you say you are guilty or you are not guilty. Okay. If you say you are guilty, then it means there's nothing anybody else is supposed to do, because you've admitted that you are guilty. So the court has no option than to go ahead and convict you and then sentence you. If you say that you are not guilty, then it means that the burden of proof is on the person who is accusing you. So your accuser will now have to prove the case against you. Yeah. So the prosecution often is the entity or the group that will do the prosecution or that will prove the allegations against you. So this is what we saw in the case of Ato Forson, Sylvester Nimana, and then Jakpa. You know, matters involving the procurement of some ambulances, etc., etc. The facts are quite known. And so they went to court. The guy said they were not guilty. The prosecution felt that they should be guilty or they were culpable. And so because they were not guilty, they were called upon now to open their case. So the prosecution will now open its case. Prosecution will now begin calling its witnesses, people to help it make its case against the accused, to pin the accused down. All the while, the accused persons will be sitting there watching, whilst the accuser or the prosecution is making its case. So this is how it happens. First, they'll have to submit what we call their witness statements. The witness statement is evidence in chief. Everything they have to say about a particular case, they write all of them together and submit them to the court. After the court has admitted it without any objection, etc., the lawyer for the accused persons will now test, you know, the strength of the evidence they have brought through cross-examination. So they will cross-examine. Everybody in narrating their story will narrate it the best way possible. Yeah. So it is only through cross-examination that we begin to see holes in the evidence you have presented or adduced. So that's a very important process. So it is through that process that the accused is able to raise doubts in respect of the evidence produced or adduced by the prosecution. Okay. And mind you, this is a criminal trial. In criminal trials, the standard of proof is what we call beyond reasonable doubt. In case of in civil matters, this is just on the preponderance of probabilities, you know, etc., or the balance of probabilities. When I look at it this way, I look at it now, I think it should tilt it this way. That's it. But if it comes to criminal matters, people's lives or liberties are at stake. Yeah. And of course, we know this thing, we say that it is better to free 1,000 criminals than to jail one innocent person. Because of that, the standard of proof is high. You will have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the person indeed is guilty before the court can go ahead and convict the person and sentence the person. So in making your case against the accused persons, you have to do that well. And everything you have stated in the charge sheet, which comes to the particulars of the offense, you must make sure you prove them. If you leave any of them hanging such that it raises doubt, it's not likely that you will secure conviction. Okay. All right. So, you know, so they came, Ajimamenu, who at the time was health minister, was in the box. There were some other people who were also in the box. They made their case, they were cross-examined. Yeah. And through the cross-examination, this matter of the letters of credit, etc., came up. There was this thing about letters of credit meant payment. Another one else, another thing in the case, which meant that letters of credit meant just a guarantee. Yeah. The lawyers for the accused persons tried to get the prosecution witnesses to agree that LCs are just guarantees. Yeah. So if you agree that LCs are just guarantees, then it undermines your own case by saying that the LC meant that payment had been made. Yeah. So that was a major one. The other part which I knew was always going to be difficult was the thing about Ato Forson signed or authored a letter, you know, without due cause and authorization, which was the foundational letter that started the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, Ato Forson has said that he did so on the authority of his minister, Jakpa. But you are saying that no, he did that on his own. He did that without authority. Yeah. So who is the best person to say whether the person did it with my authority or not? It's to call that person. Yeah. And that person is Jakpa. Jakpa has been in this country. He's not gone anywhere. So the person to say that no, he did the letter on his own without my authorization was that you did not call the person. So that was a major hole in their case. Because it was major that authorization was not given for the letter. He wrote it on his own. He wrote it on his own. And now the person says, no, he didn't write it on his own. My boss, I wrote it on behalf of my boss. Yeah. The boss is there. You've not called the boss. And you've gone ahead to close your case as prosecution. Okay, once you close your case, it means that you have adduced enough evidence which will nail the accused person. If the accused person is not able to raise any doubts as to, you know, the strength of your evidence against him, etc., then it means he'll be convicted. Okay, so now accused person also begins, now, you know, there's something called the submission of no case to answer. Okay. So when they finish, the prosecution finishes its case, the court will have to determine whether a prima facie case is being made against accused persons or not. If the court in its own wisdom thinks that no, you've not made out a case against the accused persons go home. All right. So at that stage, the court will say, okay, you can apply for submission of no case. So the lawyers for the accused persons did that. Wrote copiously the law, the evidence, everything to make the case that a case was not made against them. Now, the trial judge says, no, a prima facie case has been made against you, so now enter the box and open your case to the accused persons. They disagreed. They went to the Court of Appeal. The proceedings at the High Court were not stayed. So, which means that whilst the appeal was ongoing at the Court of Appeal, the case at the trial court was also ongoing. That's how Ato Forson and could enter the box and give evidence. So while that was happening, Court of Appeal was also looking at it. So what happened a few days ago was the end of the Court of Appeal's work. Okay. So the Court of Appeal had looked at everything, the record of appeal, everything, and come to the conclusion that indeed the prosecution did not make a case against the accused which would warrant the accused persons opening their defense. Okay. In essence, the submission of no case that was dismissed by the trial court was set aside, which means that the guys have no case to answer. So they are free people. That is what it is, in essence. Okay. They are free men. They have no case to answer. They are not supposed to even go to the court again if things remain this way, and that's what it is. Okay. So they have not been able to make a case. You know, of course, from there we began to see a lot of other things. The AG speaking, you know, GBA speaking, other senior persons speaking, etc. It is the beauty of our democracy, and it's the beauty of the rule of law. Okay, people are able to speak to say what they want to say. What is also important is that if you go to court without concrete evidence, the court will not give you what you want. All right, you may say that why did the trial judge say something different, and why did the Court of Appeal also say something different? There are 3 judges at the Court of Appeal. There are 3 of them. You need majority decision, which is 2-1, to be able to carry the day, or unanimous 3-0.
But people say that the appeal court, getting the majority shows that the AG, you know, has a point in saying that this thing should go the other way in terms of they didn't get a unanimous.
The AG certainly did not go to court with 0. He didn't go to court with 0. There are things which he felt were not done well. Okay, but the point about criminal matters is that you need to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So what he had against the people, the question is, are those things enough to prove his case beyond reasonable doubt? The fact that he did not go to court with 0 also means that there are other judges or there are people in the law who would think like him, and there's nothing wrong with that. So what it meant was that 2 of the judges at the Court of Appeal didn't agree with his position, but 1 person agreed with his position. In fact, there are cases where you could get 3-0, but you appeal again at the Supreme Court and it will be overturned. So it's an opinion. It's an opinion based on the law, and the facts. That's why we say the opinion of the judge is the opinion. And we say opinions are like gnosis. Only that in this case, the opinion in this case is being proffered by persons who understand the law, who know the facts, who apply it, who have been doing it. But it remains an opinion. And the fact that somebody agrees, it doesn't make one person wrong, one person right. That is the person's opinion. Okay. And in the end, it's a majority opinion that will carry the day. It cannot be perfect, but we should have majority of the persons on the bench thinking alike. Once you think alike, it means that the person or the angle of the angle to which you think carries the day, or the side your thinking sides with, carries the day. Okay.
The AG still wants to, go to the higher court.
It's within his right to do.
Is it, based on what you have seen, so I'll come to you, lawyers are talking.
Oh, of course. I've little to add. I've very little to add.
Lawyers,
you got dedicate the whole show to you today.
From what you've seen with the case, and you said you've listened to a part of it and all that, people, if you listen to the minority, for example, they say that the AG should leave it. He's going to disgrace himself if he goes to the Supreme Court and all that. There's a question, the reality thing of the number of people in the Supreme Court and where they toll towards, whether we like it or not. Based on the facts and based on that and the politics around, because it's become a political case, good idea for him to still go and, to the Supreme Court?
Well, it's within his right to do. In law, he can do that. It will be interesting to see what the Supreme Court will say. Whatever happens, if he's to appeal and it goes through, whatever happens in the end will only strengthen the law. It will grow the law. We'll see how the judges up there will think. And one good thing about this particular appeal is that you do not have the judges saying, I agree, I concur. Each of them took time to write their own decisions. And we hope that if it gets to the Supreme Court, we'll see a similar thing as well. They do sometimes. But other times too, they don't, which is okay. So here, he can do that. It's within his right to do. So, but the question is, why will you? He's a Minister of Justice. That doesn't come up more often. He's a Minister of Justice. Minister of Justice means that you must ensure that both sides have justice, because you are Minister for Justice over everybody, including Ato Forson and Jakpa and co, and the state as well. So you are prosecuting a case. The judges think this way. Must you necessarily jail the guy or cage the guy to ensure or to mean that you have justice delivered? I don't think so. And I think by far this is maybe the most charged case politically in this tenure. In this
after the Asin guy's one.
Of course,
this is the most, actually.
The Asin guys didn't stretch this much.
That's right.
And this guy, given the personalities involved and all of those things that have come up in this case, it has made this case quite interesting. No wonder, at some point, the case was open to everybody. And so you can be in your office and be watching it on Zoom, all right, and all of that. So it's a very charged case. A lot of people have come to follow it. And so the optics are very important. What is the Attorney General seeking to prove? Unfortunately, he's seeing this as a personal victory or defeat, which should not be. What we are taught in law school is that
I listened to him on some of the interviews, on Ours, for example, and he believes that Ato Forson did wrong, and to deter, corruption and all that, he has to go through the
but
regardless of who he is.
It's for him to make his case, and it's for the court to determine. He has made his case, and a court higher than the High Court, and with quote-unquote more experience and more judges say that no, you are not right. I must also say that Justice Ifiasewa, who is a trial court judge at the High Court, is actually a Court of Appeal judge as well. So she's sitting at the High Court as an additional High Court judge. A lot of them are mates. Justice Akaboafu also came from the High Court not too long ago, and all of that. So it is not, it's not for him to say. His is to make the charge and leave the rest to the system. The system will mean the court, the defense, etc. And all of that have come together, and they have determined that no, on a 2:1 basis, you are wrong, or you couldn't make a case against the guy. Yeah, you can appeal, but he believes in his case. Everybody believes in his case.
Personal.
He may disagree, and it's not every time that you take what people say to be the truth. But he sees this case, in my view, as a personal thing. He's too emotionally attached to this case, to the extent that for the first time in our criminal jurisprudence, what's the name? An accused person is found in communication with the Attorney General. Yeah. And the Attorney General, at some point in the communication, appeared to be coaching the accused person he will be interrogating or cross-examining later to tell the court, to lie to the court that he was sick or he is sick, so this is a medical excuse duty, etc. It has never happened before, all right? It has never happened before. And the judge, the trial court judge, you know, in choosing her words, said that she would strongly advise that the Attorney General should recuse himself. Yeah. That's how, the judge could not say he should recuse himself. That he would strongly advise that the Attorney General should recuse himself. Attorney General can't say, well, it was just an advice, so piece of advice, so he would treat it as such. Yeah. It doesn't happen that way. You know, elsewhere, things would have happened. Leave the case. You don't have to appear in court necessarily. Before your people come to court, you have meetings, conference with them. That is the direction you want to go. This is what I expect ABC. You don't have to appear in court yourself. After that, you come to court yourself to conduct cases, to conduct cross-examination in respect of the same case. I think it lowers the bar a bit. And it fits into the perception people have of him that he's the most political Attorney General this republic has seen. When you look at the Attorney Generals we've had, right? We've had Attorney Generals like Obeda Samoa. We've had Attorney Generals like Pabo Usankuma. We've had Ayuko Otu. We've had Ben Kumbo. We've had Amidu. We've had Gloria Kufu. We've had Marietta Brew. I mean, when you look at all of these people and you look at how his approach is, he may be a very sharp and intelligent guy, but is that really what we are seeing in the conduct of cases? Is it not being too political or being too partisan? That's the question people have asked. And he may be playing into the hands of those people if he doesn't take a back seat and look at things from a more objective viewpoint. What we are taught in law school is that you don't attach yourself to the case. Yeah. You are a professional, you have to deal with the matters professionally. Once in a while, we get emotionally involved in the case because we believe so much in the case or because we do not want to lose. But that would be unprofessional if you attach so much emotion to the case that the emotions cloud your judgment. I think that, and the words he used in the statement, that a perverse judgment, etc. Of course, you can say a lot of things, you can criticize the judgment, but you are the Attorney General. You are the Attorney General, and he's the same person who comes out to defend judges when the other side is insulting the judges. So to use some words that way, I don't think, and indeed the Bar Association came out to say the words were too strong, and so, you know, people should tone down. Yeah.
Before I take a quick break, Sammy, don't worry, okay? Do you want to go to law school?
I'm beginning to think so.
In the judgment, Akaboafo, who wrote the lead judgment, Justice Akaboafo who wrote the lead judgment, made an important case. He didn't feel that Ato Forson and co were the people to deal with. Yeah. Part of the contract said that there will be pre-shipment checks. Pre-shipment checks. Yeah. Those pre-shipment checks were not made. The goods had arrived. Yeah. And you make payment upon seeing the goods. Yeah. So the assumption is that once the goods arrive, the pre-shipment checks would have been done. Yeah. It wasn't Ato Forson and co who were to do the pre-shipment checks. They were to see the thing and payment to be made. Payment was made. Yeah. And so why do you hold him responsible? There's a contract. Why not deal with health ministry people rather? Yeah. You get the point? Yeah. So when you look at all of this, it fits into a certain perception. And things people like Jakpa and co have said that certain key personalities in this government want Ato Forson and co jailed. And Jakpa himself claiming that he was told by the Attorney General, I don't know, that he wasn't the target, but the target really was Ato Forson. If you look at all of that, and the posturing of the main actors in this matter, it makes it difficult to disagree with persons who feel that there's more to this than just media.
Okay, I have to take a quick break. When I come, I'll allow Samiri Afi as well to make some points. And then, Samira, I want you to answer the question on the independence of the judiciary, which has come under scrutiny for some time, and the fact that this time around it appears that the wind went towards the other side, which the Attorney General himself and others have said, you know, vindicates the judiciary. So I'll let you have a comment on that, but we'll be right back. You're welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kailuk. I'm here with Seloma Donu as well as Sami Riafi. We're looking at the ambulance case, which has led to the freeing of a minority leader, Ato Forson, as well as Mr. Jakpa by an appeal court this week. Sami?
I'm very little to add because Seloma has really
Seloma has taken us through and really
everything in
explained
respect
a lot for us
of this particular matter, and I admire his analysis of this. But for me, what I'll pick up from recent events in respect of this is that I see this trial to be a political trial. A political trial in the sense that look at the characters involved. Now you're talking about a minority leader in Ghana's parliament. A parliament which is not the parliament we used to know, a different parliament altogether, who has played an integral part in happenings within parliament this time around. A member of parliament on the ticket of the opposition party, a former deputy minister of finance under the NDC. And look at the other gentleman involved, Richard Jakpa, who has publicly admitted that he's a sympathizer of the NDC. And so clearly, it tells you that this trial is a political trial. Because from day one, we've seen how this whole thing has gone to the extent that, as Salom mentioned, an AG is caught on tape coaching a witness on the things to say when he appears in court. And you realize that the target is not this particular gentleman, but then the target is the first accused person, which is the minority leader. So for me, the conclusion is that it is a political trial, and definitely they want to see someone go to jail before this election, which is 5 or 4 months away. And so if anybody makes the counter argument that it is it is justice, it's a criminal trial, but then the criminality is not the end game. The end game is to nail a political opponent. The MPP has mentioned previously that there were corrupt officials in the NDC administration before they assumed the reins of power. There have been promises that they're going to jail some of them. They've jailed a few, the NCA boss and the rest, but these are not big wigs. Now this time around, they want the bigger fishes. And so they see Ato Forson to be that big fish, you know, they want to, you know, nail or even jail before this election. So it's political, if you ask me. But then Vivian, it's surprising how the narrative or the chorus about the judiciary has changed suddenly. If it had gone the other way around, we would have had a different, that, hey, the judiciary is politicized, MPP appointments here and there. But now that it went a different way, the parties are praising the judiciary, that indeed the judiciary is independent. I mean, had former President John Mahama, who has in recent past accused or heavily accused the judiciary. Now today he says the judiciary has done a good job and that they've upheld the rule of law and the rest. It's interesting how you see our political actors describe the judiciary depending on where their cases go. Yeah. You know, if it goes for you, you know, you praise it. If it doesn't, we are most grateful, my Lord. So that's what they say. If it goes your way, we are most grateful, my Lord. If it doesn't, we take it as it is. As the court pleases. Thank you.
We take it
as the court pleases. So we've heard the narrative from the Attorney General. We had him on Eyewitness. The strong weather statement, he's going to appeal or get a review at the Supreme Court. It will be interesting the verdict the Supreme Court will also come out with. Is it going to toe the same line of the appeal courts or a different verdict will be heard? And will the chorus also change?
Do you think he should go to the Supreme Court?
Well, the Attorney General has a right to. And as the chief advisor to government on legal matters, he has a right to. He wants to see to the conclusion of this matter, and the window is available to him. I heard one lawyer, Bobby Brown, said, is it Bobby Brown or Bunsen Brown? Thank you for the correction. He said that it's going to help the rule of law if he makes that attempt. And then also it helps the country's, you know, democratic space. Now, we instead of using other means, we want to use the law to explore. Now, if it goes to the Supreme Court, it becomes a precedent. It becomes an authority. And so when issues like this come up in future, we'll have a guide on how to deal with this particular matter. But then, I feel the AG is becoming so personal or emotional in this matter. And I feel he's angry or angered in the sense of what has happened on the Jakpa recording. Now, it's all over the place. We've heard what the AG said in this matter. So he feels it's a personal fight for him now. That if the person who is involved in this matter was able to record me one way or the other, and disgrace me in court, then I must fight to the core. But I've heard people advise that this matter should be dropped because the end game may not be good. But well, he's the Minister of Justice. He feels that justice must be served in a deal that cost the country 2.37 million euros. I've even heard someone say that some businessman offered to even pay this particular amount of money. So this whole matter will be dropped, but then it was rejected, you know, by the powers that be. So it's interesting how the Supreme Court, I think that the finality will be on the Supreme Court. Whatever the Supreme Court will say will really bring a finality to this matter. And then what is currently happening at the High Court will also know the outcome of it. But for me, Vivian, what I would say that is a political trial. We'll wait and see the conclusion of this. I
mean, you are a presidential correspondent and you go to the presidency every now and then. What was your reaction to the ruling?
A bit surprising.
They were surprised.
Yeah, they were surprised. They didn't expect. They didn't really expect, you know, this particular verdict. Yesterday there was a cabinet meeting. I understand the matter was raised at the cabinet meeting yesterday, and there were some few surprises. The decision of the AG to seek a review was discussed there, and this was okay, fine. You are the Attorney General, you advise governments on these matters. If that is what is best, you know, you can go ahead and pursue this matter. But for them, it came really as a surprise. They're waiting for the outcome of the Supreme Court, which I don't know if the AG has filed yet. I don't know about that.
They said they were going to file.
But he's given indication that he's filed. Maybe they may want to wait on that one, and the finality on that will determine the next line of action that they. By
the time that decision will come, this regime cannot have
So well, the Chief Justice always said that important matters will always be fast tracked. The more reason we are seeing,
will be fast tracked.
Perhaps we may see a fast track on this matter, because earlier the trial judge on this matter was doing it weekly. Now it's been changed to Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
There are rules.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have to file something, you have to file within this number of days.
And there will be opposition
this
to those
person
ones.
must also look at it and file a response this number of days. I mean, there are ways of doing it. I mean, there are ways of doing it. So, but what to be the matter has been determined by one court. What to be the motive for wanting to fast track this? I mean, the Supreme Court, I'm not sure that will happen. You can't change the rules. You can't abridge time because you want it done quickly. If you have 14 days to file the thing, you have 14 days to file. That is the time the rules give you. If you have 7 days to do, that's the time the rules give you. And if 14 days you're unable to file, you go to court, you beg for extension of time. It's important. The court will lambast you, they will do a lot of things here and there,
but they will grant you your wish.
They will grant you. If you do that 2-3 times.
So Salom, if you look at within the rules that he has to go through and the time,
I'll be surprised.
It's not likely.
I'll be surprised if the Supreme Court will give a verdict before December. Should the matter be filed, I'll be surprised if the Supreme Court will give a verdict before December. I'll be surprised.
But now they're on legal break, right?
They come back in October.
Okay.
Come back in October. They'll need a few days to settle in. Of course, there are cases already. Important cases can always be taken earlier. But the question again is, why are you in a hurry? What for? They are Ghanaians too. You are Justice Minister over them as well. The Court of Appeal says that they have no case to answer, so they should go home free. You know, I'll be surprised.
I'm doing a bit of the. So what happens to the High Court case? Is it still ongoing, or
it's dead?
It puts everything to an end.
They are free men. They don't even have to go. They can't. When they go to court, who are they? Are they accused? They are nobody. They don't have to go to court. The matter is dead. It's finished. They say they have no case to answer. The prosecution did not make a case against them sufficient enough to make them open their defense. So it means that the defense they opened was in error. They did not even have to open defense. And even the defense they opened, to a large extent, many can argue, or many will argue that they would have created enough doubts or punched enough holes in the case of the prosecution. Prosecution may not agree. Even if they agree, they will not admit it openly. But they don't have to go to court. Again, if the matter goes to the Supreme Court determines otherwise, what it will mean is that they will have a case to answer now. Now the trial court's proceedings will then be restored, so they will take it from where they ended. But if it doesn't continue, the matter is dead. If it continues, the Supreme Court upholds the decision of the Court of Appeal. it continues to lie in its grave, that's the end of the matter.
I don't understand why the AG is angry and taking this thing.
So it means the matter is dead, it's done.
Very personal. I feel he feels he's lost this matter. The more reason why.
No, but see, AG shouldn't necessarily, in the matters like this, AG shouldn't feel like he's lost the matter. You are justice minister over the citizens.
But this is a matter he's pursued from
it doesn't matter.
Till
it doesn't matter.
now.
You see, there's a reason why. There's a reason why typically. There's a reason why on many occasions, the Republic does not appeal criminal cases. They can do or they do, but it is not often the case that somebody goes to steal chicken somewhere and the court finds that the person really didn't do it, and so the person is acquitted.
But those matters are different from what we are having now.
No, but why should it be different?
This is a matter which has generated public interest.
Apart from the politics. It's a politics.
And it's a politics.
Yeah, but so you want to jail the person because then the person comes from the other side?
You know, it is the politics that has generated the interest to the extent that the CJ has even allowed for live transmission.
Yeah, and I'm saying that, should the politics dictate the path or it should be the law?
It should be the law.
Yes, so the law has said it. So the politics only makes the situation more difficult. It is the politics that is causing people to feel that they have lost the case.
Apart from the courtroom, there's also the court of public opinion.
Of course. There's a court, but what does the court of public opinion think? Court of public opinion often is emotive. They don't have the facts fully. They see things differently. Well, I mean, they see things differently.
Based on where they are.
You know, they see things very differently. You know, something that's, they see things very differently. But they are the majority.
Yeah.
And so it is important to moderate how they see things. That is why we say that justice must be done, but justice must also be seen to be done because of the court of public opinion. They must see some things. So, for example, this thing about the Supreme Court, unanimous FC, etc. That is the court of public opinion. But there are times when you go into the unanimous FC judgments, you agree with the judgments.
Okay.
The law is sound. You agree with the judgment. But because of the optics, the court of public opinion, you have to be careful. No wonder Kandapa, you know, in that his statement or document, said that it doesn't do the public a lot of good. I'm not sure I'm quoting him well. It doesn't do the public a lot of good, the country a lot of good, if every time one side is winning all the cases. In fact, he didn't even have to say that. But as security minister, he was concerned because he was looking at the court of public opinion. Yeah. It is very important, even though they don't always have the facts right, or usually don't have the facts right, they are driven by emotion. It's important to consider that and moderate how they think. Am I saying that you should deliberately let some people win cases? No. If they cannot win the case based on the merits of the case legally, they shouldn't win. But it's important to moderate the court of public opinion. It's very, very important.
Let me take some messages coming in. This one says to me, the Attorney General should let bygones be bygones. He shouldn't go to the Supreme Court. It is interesting that Mr. Mahama and, It's interesting that Mr. Mahama and his NDC are now singing the praises of the court. I hope they won't change their tune if things go against them one day. If we want to protect our democracy, then we need to desist from attacking the judicial service because it is our last resort as far as the rule of law is concerned. This one is saying, is Mr. Adonu forgetting the words justice must be manifestly done, no matter the personalities involved? I think you did. This one says, please, I would like to know whether the AG can be sued for financial loss to the state for not accepting the plea bargain from Mid-C to pay the cost of the ambulances in question. And this one is not related to the case, but the person has thrown it in to what we are discussing, but it's part of the big stories for the week. It says, Vivian, good evening to you and your panelists. Let's all come together to keep drumming home the need to keep the Chimota forest intact. We can't allow selfish politicians to continue to destroy our environment, all in the name of their personal interest. Hashtag leave our forests alone for clean atmosphere. So Salom, can he be sued for causing financial loss to the state?
Oh, that's a stretch. He's doing his job. He's doing his job. And if, you know, in his best estimation, he feels that this is the direction to go, you know, you can't sue him for no, you cannot do that unless you establish. You cannot really do that. He's just doing his job, and he's a lawyer. Lawyers lose cases, they gain cases. You know, it's a judgment call he made. Okay, and I've heard him say that he did not know how he was going to enter plea bargain agreement with a third-party entity which was not even part of the case. If they default, how are you going to chase them and all of that? So I think he took that decision given his best professional know-how and advice available to him.
Okay, so we'll wrap up on that. Let's move to our second topic to do with the District Road Improvement Program. Sami, you are taking this one. We know it's going to create 10,000 jobs. The initiative will also provide 2,240 road construction equipment. All MMDAs will benefit and all that. But we don't know is how much this project will cost. Because
officials involved have never mentioned the amount involved.
Why not?
And we've been asking questions on all the stakeholders involved, the local government ministry, the District Assembly Common Fund, and the private company involved, which is the Just One group of companies. Till today, we are unable to tell the full cost of this project. We've asked several questions how much it costs, even though the administrator of the Common Fund admitted yesterday at the event that they are bearing the cost of all this. She fell short on mentioning the full cost, and I believe in the days to come, the full amount involved will be known, because already the MP for Boko Central, Mahama Yariga, has filed an RTI, requesting the details of this particular transaction, the amount involved and everything. I'm sure when that reply comes, we'll get to know the amount involved in all these matters. Apart from the amount involved, there are many who have also applauded this particular initiative. Those who spoke yesterday at the event said that it is going to bring development to the doorstep of the local assemblies and local people, because they feel that the government promise of year of roads did not materialize. And so that is one way or the other, trying to satisfy the needs of people as far as road construction is concerned. Even if you watch our CNL, you always see demonstration.
You do.
Of roads here and
every
there.
day. But then there's a question of priority. Well, I mean, this evening we're watching Alabira's report. The issue, of course, road was in there, but access to education, some health, and all that. So where do they draw the line with that?
So according to
however, I'm looking at anyway, you go ahead.
So according to the people behind this program, these heavy equipment will be given to the district assemblies. Okay. The assemblies already have a data or a map of specific areas, towns and villages within the district or the metropolitan assembly where the roads are very terrible. Okay. And so if you go to an area where it's not even tarred, but at least it's a pathway and it's bad, you can use these rollers or bulldozers or whatever they call it to go and shape these roads for these people. So at least it will grant access to farmland, hospitals, schools and those areas. Even though we will not have the normal quota asphalt road, you will still have pathways which have been shaped enough for vehicles and individuals.
Some of the roads, the manholes, is not that thing that will correct it.
Well, they believe that at least it will go in to mitigate the plight of these residents one way or the other, because we see pictures of very deplorable roads where you see pregnant women, sometimes on motorbikes and in the Abubo yards, plying such terrible roads. So, for instance, the local government minister said that in these areas, when you have these rollers or bulldozers, they can go in there, excavate, get the roller to fix the road, at least level the road, so that the Abubo yard, the pregnant woman is lying, it can go a bit faster to the nearest health center to go and get the necessary medical attention to these people who are suffering. So the government believes that is a game changer. Many people have said that in time past there was a similar arrangement, but then the counter argument is that these districts were only given graders. It didn't come with the other accoutrements this government is
So apart from the roller, I mean, is that the right name?
So
roller and
they say they are giving them the graders, the backhoe, the rollers, the wheel loaders, the bulldozers, the water tankers, and the rest. Okay. So every district will get a full set, which is 7 in total. Okay. And so this 7 will do the job for the road construction one way or the other in this particular locality. So you don't give them only bulldozers, and then when they are done, there'll be no rollers to come and roll them. The rollers will be added to it. Okay. And so 7. So
you get a full complement.
You get a full complement of it. So when it's moving, everything is moving. Okay. And so when they take this particular road, by the time they are done, everything is done, and then they'll move to the next one. And they said that the district assemblies have a full data.
So they would choose?
So the assembly would choose. And according to the local government minister, a 4-member committee has been set up in the various assemblies who oversee this.
They are within the assembly?
Within the assembly. So they say that a representative from the local government ministry, a member of the Ghana Armed Forces, will be part.
Are we using the army to do these?
So they have the 48 engineering. So they will select people from this regiment to go and be part of these committees in the various districts. Okay. You know, our army is divided. So the southern commanders, the selection will come from these areas, and then the local assembly will also get people in there, and then a technical officer. So, you know, 4-member committee that will oversee this thing. And the issue that has come up is abuse. That a DC will not wake up and say, oh, I have a girlfriend here whose road is it's terrible, so let's go.
But if he's able to convince the 4-member committee,
then it's up to them. It's up to them if the 4 will agree.
Because I'm still trying to figure out what they put in place to ensure that it's successful. Yeah. And I haven't heard any concrete assertions so far. Issues of abuse, issues of even maintenance, issues of funding, all that, you know.
It has really come up for discussion, especially maintenance. Yes. And you know the maintenance culture of Ghanaians. Exactly. This is not the first time we are seeing these equipment in these districts. It will even get to a point where the assembly will tell you, you don't even have money to buy, to forward them.
To move them. So what is the plan for?
There's no money to forward them. But then the local government minister says that all these have been put in place to ensure that the equipments do the job they are supposed to do. In terms of fueling, the assemblies, will be empowered to get funding for the maintenance and fueling of these equipment. On the maintenance, he mentioned that, you know, a mobile workshop has been set up that will move from district to district to go and service these equipment in terms of the maintenance area. And so they've covered this area when it comes to the maintenance. But the Ghanaian as we are buying there and fine home. If we are able to change that perception, I think this will help. But then if we become the Ghanaian as we are and we show the I don't care attitude, we'll come back to ground zero. Many people have also questioned the timing of this program. Few months to election. Is it to buy votes or is development driven? I posed that question to the local government minister, and he says development is a continuous process. You don't say because it's an election year, you may want to use this to buy votes or win the sympathy
but why now?
of Ghanaians. It's the same question I asked that, why now? And his answer is that...
I mean, not to cut you, so Year of Rose was launched 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Why wasn't it done at that time?
He tells me there were challenges with importation of this equipment. You know, politicians always find answers for these things. But I was very hard on him that, why this time? Few months to election. And the answer he gave me was that development is a continuous process. So whether election or no election, the development of the country must continue.
Okay. So we have the military in there, I'm sure, to help, because there's also been the question of involving the military, especially the 48, you know. Because I remember the Peshi Lagoon, for example, when the bridge, there was an issue, they were the ones who put in place the temporary one we are using now to secure the integrity of the bridge. So we'll see. So this has taken off, or when is it taken off?
So as of yesterday, the equipment have started going to the various districts already.
Have you seen any in your...
I haven't seen any yet.
Tell them, have you? But you have bad roads, right?
Yeah, I mean, we all have bad roads.
We all have bad roads.
No, some are bad.
I live in Transwa.
No, some are
My
bad.
roads are very terrible.
Some are bad. Some challenge there at another level, you know. So we should expect these levelers or whatever in our district.
God willing, tomorrow morning I'm leaving home. I'll pass by my assembly and check if they've taken delivery of this in my assembly and check.
Because it's supposed to take off immediately. Yes. So if your road is bad, do you have to go to the district assemblies or what? How? Or somebody will determine?
We understand that the assembly has a data of all the bad roads within the assembly. And so based on need assessment, they will know which one to attend to first, and then it will be followed like that. So they have the data already, and they know which areas to tackle when it comes to these things.
And we are told every district is getting 1 million.
Every district is getting how much?
1 million.
I don't know about that one.
Yes.
I don't know about that
well,
one.
I was listening to the gentleman who spoke on Eyewitness with regards, I think there's
the deputy local government minister,
yes, as part of the running of the thing. Salom, it's a good idea if implemented.
It's
you know?
fantastic. It's a great idea because there are times there are some roads which obviously will not catch the attention of roads and highways, feeder roads, etc. So if this equipment, you know, are owned by the district assemblies, they are able to deal with problems like that. And I expect that this is where the assemblymen in the various electoral areas also get very active when they go for their assembly meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, the meetings they have at the assembly with the presiding officers and all of that. I expect those meetings to become very useful now in respect of this particular initiative, where roads are mapped out or roads are identified and those resources are channeled to deal with those. So it's important, it's great, it's fantastic. I heard some time back, every assembly had a bulldozer and something, so that if there was a problem, you could just move and deal with it.
Yeah.
But that also collapsed because of the challenges that many have raised could be dealt with these ones too.
Yeah.
The problem is, so it's a great idea, fantastic, and the first few months, I'm sure it's going to work magic if we do it well. But who funds this? Okay, how are we going to fund it? If the spare parts, you know, break down, who pays for it? Is it central government that will pay for it, or is assembly that will pay for it? If it's assembly that will pay for it, what money would they use to pay for it? Because the assemblies have always complained that they do not have money. Who fuels these equipment? Because they are big equipment.
Well, he said that they will get fuel.
They'll get fuel from where?
And then they will get maintenance from central government. There's a place they will fuel.
You know, you see,
how central government money channels now
it's a great thing, right? But I'm quite skeptical if we leave everything for the central government. Central government told us some time ago that every year they were going to give $1 million to every constituency. I don't know where that ended. I don't know which constituency can tell us that they indeed received that money. Later, what we were told was that procurement was done at the center for them. So they start at the center and imagine what the needs of the people in a particular constituency will be, and things were procured for them. It's a procurement economy. So when you drill down, look at vested interest analysis, etc., it will shock you how some of the things were procured, etc. But that's fine. It is a good idea. Let's make it work. But you can't make the fanfare alone is good. It's good for the optics, it's good for the politics, the election season, etc. But we need to ask the questions. So the devil is in the detail. How are they going to get money to be fueling the cars or the equipment? You know, how are they going to determine which roads to deal with? You know, it's all a resource matter. Where would these resources come from? Don't tell me to come from central government. Central government doesn't have the money to do this. We need to find a different funding source, which will be quite independent of the central government's own system to deal with this. It's a great thing. I only hope that we do it well, we maintain the equipment well. Persons who have been entrusted to drive or work on this equipment must do so with utmost care and ensure that the equipment are well taken care of. They treat the equipment as if it were their own. You know, they don't use it anyhow because it's for government. It's important that we ensure that things work properly. And but by our standards, it's a good idea. It's unfortunate that transparency hasn't been really good. And so something that's supposed to make everybody happy, there are a lot of questions being thrown at it. It's not the best. But the project itself looks good. My hope is that it will be executed properly.
So they promised to tell us the cost and everything in the coming days. So we hope to see that.
It shouldn't take an RTR request.
I mean, it should have been ready before the launch.
It shouldn't take an RTR. So that is the problem.
The government is spending this particular amount of money
so
on this
that
project.
is the problem. It shouldn't take an RTR request to get this. It should have come even on the day of the launch of commission.
So it makes the start as
a laudable idea, but then questions are being raised on it.
So we hope to see the cost, and then we hope it's put to good use, you know, all these equipment that will come in. But thank you very much, gentlemen. Salam Adonu and Samiri Afi, both with us here at Channel One TV and City FM. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again. Goodbye.